being here with us today. My name's Joni Ogg, and on behalf of Travel Professional News, homebasedtravelagent.com, and findahosttravelagency.com, I would like to welcome all of you to today's webinar, and thank you for taking the time out of your day to be here with us. We have a really fun webinar today. One of my favorite people is speaking with us today. She's such a positive energy. And our today's topic is From Chaos to Clarity, Organizing Your Travel Business with Travefy. And our speaker is Bonnie McLeod, and she is the Education and Engagement Coordinator at Travefy and a trusted expert in helping travel advisors streamline their workflow and grow their business with the Travefy platform. I'm sure many of you have met her at trade shows and such. And having led hundreds of webinars and workshops, she's got a deep commitment and a genuine enthusiasm for empowering travel advisors and the community of travel advisors through education. Just remember, folks, as you know, you're all muted, but we do, of course, welcome your questions at any time. And you just put those in the questions area that you see on the right-hand panel on your screen. And when she's all finished with her presentation, we'll take those many questions as we can. We are going to also be offering 2 prizes today. Wow, one is a $100 Amazon gift card, courtesy of Travefy. Wow, that's awesome. Thank you, guys. And a $50 Amazon gift card, courtesy of us here, the Ogg family at Travel Professional News. So for those of you getting ready for all that shopping with Amazon, we're going to load you up. So listen carefully for your chance to win. We'll do that at the end. I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to Bonnie so we can get started. Welcome.
Awesome. Well, thank you as always for the warm welcome, Joni, and so glad to have you guys attending today. I hope your week is going well. On another webinar earlier this week, I was talking about how the fall weather has officially hit most of the states, but if you are feeling some summer weather, feel free, send some of that sunshine our way. It was 34 degrees when I stepped out of my house, which you can never win, but so glad to have you guys here today. And as I go into my slide, my name is Bonnie. I'm excited to be here. This is what I'm looking like on a really good day. Looking a little rough today, so I'm glad the cameras are off. The humidity's gone, but man, the hairs and everything is crazy. But we have some fun things on the agenda today, which is all about really staying organized and understanding Travefy's CRM systems a bit more, because to be quite frank with you, I think CRM admin work, I don't know how much that excites anyone else, but my goal today is to make sure you know some really good tips, some really good action items. So when you get into 2026, which will be here before we know it, you're going to feel really confident and ready to sell, sell, sell. But before I jump into that, I always want to take time talking about Travefy as a company, where we got started, what we are doing, where we are headed. I think it's so important, especially if this may be your first time meeting Travefy, and if you're looking for another system or shopping around, to understand who we are as a partner with you guys. And then at the end, as Joni was mentioning, we'll talk about Q&A. I'll talk about some different resources that are available to you all. And of course, stick around to the end for those really fun giveaways. We are getting into the holiday season, so getting a gift card does not hurt. But what is Travefy? Who is Travefy? Why Travefy to begin with? Travefy started back in 2012. We were actually consumer facing up until around 2015 through 2017, where we really latched on to the travel advisor mission of making sure that you guys have all of the tools and resources available to you to provide really great experiences for your travelers. And I think it's such great work that you are doing. You are connecting travelers to experiences that they may never have gotten the chance to have without your help and assistance. And so when we got started and when we really started digging into the travel industry further, we realized there's not really a great blueprint on how to be a successful advisor. And so I don't know if any of you who are joining us today are doing other jobs on top of this one, you're hoping to be full-time, or you're just getting started, but even if you've been in the industry for a while, I'm sure you can think back to when you first began as an advisor and thinking, oh my gosh, where do I even begin? And so Travefy's goal is to help you feel more confident growing your business, no matter what your experience level is, and also helping make sure new advisors can enter into this industry really easily and continue to see some growth in this industry to begin with. But Let's go ahead. Let's take a look at the screen here. There's a lot of things that I'm sure you guys are looking at, but this is really a lot of Travefy's main features. And so we have a great marketing tool set up where we have a website builder as well as travel landing pages. We also have a great CRM, which stands for Customer Relationship Management. Think of that as your really fancy online address book. But we also introduced email integration as well as invoices and commissions as of this summer. That was a huge, huge focus for Travefy. It had been asked from us by our users for a while, and so we wanted to make sure we provided these necessary tools for you. We also had a form builder, and we have a credit card authorization form, which is PCI compliant. We always want to make sure that you are protected as much as possible, and of course your client's information is secure. And then last of all, where we really got started with our first tools and features is that itinerary and proposal builder. And so all of these features work cross-functionally to help each other, and so that you don't have to feel like you have to spend a lot of time in certain areas. So you can go out, you can sell, you can go on vacation, you don't have to work until midnight. I have heard some of the hours that you guys work, and it is crazy. So hopefully our platform can really help you with that time management aspect. But throughout all of this, there's something I want you guys to know. We have amazing customer support. So don't feel like a stranger, feel like you can just reach out to us anytime if you have a question, if you want to set up a training for you and your agency, if you want to go through some of our free certification programs. We have so many resources. We want to be an advocate for you. So just let us know how we can help. I will say most of us are based in Nebraska. So if you are on Eastern time or West Coast, let us know, but we do work from 9 to 5 Central Time. But all right, if you guys are ready, buckle on up. The way that I like to do these presentations is I'll stick in slides for a little bit of it, explain what we're going to take a look at, and then actually hop into the platform so you can better understand and see how it all works together. I'm someone who's a visual learner, so hopefully this helps my fellow visual learners. But the first thing we're going to dive into when it comes to really making sure we're organized is the first step of gathering client information. How do you do it securely? How do we do it where we don't have to spend a ton of time back and forth with the client to get the information that we need? How do we move quickly in the beginning stages? And the way that Travefy offers this is through our client forms. And I want to explain just a little bit about these forms before, again, we dive into the platform. One, of course, we have the custom ones that you can customize as much as you'd like. You can add your logo in, you can add in personal messages, which I always recommend doing. PCI compliancy is such a huge piece to the credit card authorizations. This is what helps protect you and helps fight those chargebacks if you were to ever run into that situation. Even if you do not use Travefy, always make sure that your forms, the way that you are collecting credit cards, are PCI compliant. Also, we have file uploads. So if you've ever needed maybe something like a passport from your traveler or an insurance waiver that they had to sign off on uploaded for whatever reason, these are the types of questions you can add into your form. It's not going to make them try and fax anything. It's really just allowing them to take a picture, upload it into their form, and it's as easy as that. You don't have to be tech support. Passport uploads, that's a type of file upload. We have e-signatures, of course. Put your terms and conditions in, use the ones that we have. Just make sure that you have all of that information within the form. And this is for my friends who are looking at doing groups. If you are doing groups, if you're thinking about doing groups, one important piece with your forms is making sure you have response limits. This is a feature in Travefy where if you have X amount of responses, it closes after that number. So for instance, maybe I have 20 cabins, I only need 20 responses. It closes after the 20 responses, so I don't have to have that awkward conversation with the traveler saying, hey, unfortunately, you were the last one, I don't have any more room for you. It's just a conversation we really don't want to have. And so all of these features within your forms helps you work quickly to gather that information securely. And also, I threw in this slide, don't feel like you have to memorize this term at all. This is not part of our questions at the end, but smart fields. This is a feature within your forms in Travefy that's going to make sure you pretty much just don't have to put in any of that information manually. Your forms in Travefy are connected to your contacts in Travefy. And this is going to make a lot more sense here soon when I can actually show you. But Smart Fields is going to say, hey, here's a response from this Jane Doe. Do you want to make this a contact, or is this someone that you recognize? If it's not a contact already, it creates an automatic contact profile for you. So I don't know if, again, anyone in this audience has done this before, but if you've ever tried writing down someone's phone number, trying to put it in, trying to get all of that information input, you might have misspelled something, you might have put in the wrong number, and of course, that is detrimental. So this is going to help make sure there's no room for human error. But all right, let's actually take a look at how these forms work. What does Travefy even look like these days? We have gone through so many changes. I've talked to so many advisors at some of these past conferences who maybe tried us out a few years ago. They weren't ready quite yet. I've shown them what it looks like now, and it is completely different. And so when you first log into Travefy, this is the page that you'll see. This is your trips page. And when it comes to forms, when it comes to gathering client information, we want to select the library button up at the top within our navigation bar, if you can see that on my screen. This is going to take us to your own personal library. Think of your library as your own personal database of resources. You can see a whole list of different things that I have in my library. And what I want to do with you guys really quickly is show you how easy it is to set up something like a credit card authorization form. Again, even if you aren't using Travefy, please just make sure you're doing it in a PCI compliant way. This will help protect you so much. And so in Travefy, all you've got to do is do that new library item. You're going to get a whole list of choices you can select from. We are going to select that form option right there at the top. And it just gives you this nice little pop-up window. You can go through, you can title it, we can label it, we can add in those response limits. I know that's a little bit tiny to see on my screen, but what I'm going to do is we're actually going to just create from a template. Travefy has 4 templates within here, but there are so many more in our marketplace. So if you're a current user, you haven't discovered marketplace yet, feel free, chat us, send us an email. We'll be happy to show you. But select that credit card authorization form for me. It will make sure that you have your 2-factor authentication turned on. It's all about the security. It's all about making sure your client's information is secure. But when you have that turned on, here's what shows up. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit just in case anyone's watching this on a smaller screen. But we have a few contact questions as well as entering in the payment information question. Now, for most of you, you might need that special 3-digit code on the back of your traveler's card. So what you'll want to do is select this pencil icon right here. That's going to allow you to edit it. And now you can see that it is required. However, turn on yes for collecting that CVV code. Once you're done, just select that check mark and it saves it for you. When you're starting to create your form, and if you're starting to use these templates, you can continue customizing it by selecting this add new button. You'll have a few different options. This middle option is great if you want to add in your logo, you want to add in those instructions, maybe a thank you, that never hurts. But if we want to add in a question, let's go ahead, select question right there. And you just type in the information that you're looking for. And so for me today, let's say that we need that passport too. We'll say, please upload your passport. Simple as that. You can add in that additional text or instructions if you feel like you need to. On the right-hand side, that is going to be the type of answer that you're looking for from that traveler. And so you have to think to yourself, what answer makes sense? Does it make sense for them to select from multiple choice? Probably not for that passport. Long answer, short answer, probably not the right one either. However, what we can do instead is that contact document upload. If I actually want them to take a snapshot of their passport and load it into this form, this is the type of question field, or answer field, excuse me, that you'll want to select. Of course, yes or no, whichever makes sense for you. But when I click that check mark, it's now an added question within here. There's so many more added features and benefits, but I want to keep it pretty simple today. I don't want to make anyone feel overwhelmed. But as Joni was saying, if you have questions, put it in that question area. We'll have more than enough time to go over them at the end. But last couple of things is that we are requiring that electronic signature, but by all means, please put in your own custom ones right down there below. I'm going to zoom out now. And the next thing that we'll do is see, how do you share it? Or actually, before we do that, how do we preview this? What does it look like for the traveler themselves? I'm going to select that preview button up at the top right of this box. We can see what it looks like on mobile. They just fill it out, hit continue, fill it out. Or if you want to see what it looks like on desktop, you can also see it this way. It actually just scrolls all of the questions out for them. And this is what I typically would recommend travelers do. If you've ever shopped online, which I know none of you are guilty of, but if you've ever shopped online, you can always save your credit card information into Apple Pay. You can save it into Google Pay. Most travelers will have that in there as well. If they select add payment method, there's usually a little pop-up that says Google Pay, Apple Pay, and it instantly fills out the details for them. So I always like to give that tip. It helps save a lot of time. But as you can see, here's what that looks like. They'll hit continue. They'll see all of the questions that they still need to fill out. Sign off with that electronic signature. Each party, so you and that traveler, are going to get PDF confirmations of everything. And again, that just helps protect you that much more. But let's exit that preview. Let's end this with how do we share this out? We hit that share button. You're going to have two options. You can share it as a link. This is really handy if you have that traveler who says, hey, can you just text the link to me? Or if you want to put that link maybe onto your website, or if you want to put that link onto your social media, you can definitely do that. Otherwise, if I know the client, this is what I would recommend doing, is just emailing it directly to them. And that, for this reason, is because I like to track it. And we have tracking capabilities when you email directly from Travefy. So you'll just type in a client's name. We could do a Cynthia Smith. You can add in a custom message if you want. This is a rabbit trail, so I won't go too deep into custom messages and templates there. But you will have an authorization description. And let me zoom in. I apologize. This is probably a little difficult to see for some of you. Authorization description, just describing what you are needing their card for. So maybe flights and insurance. We can put in the authorization amount. So what is around the amount that you're going to be charging from them? This authorization is just an authorization. You are going to go out and process this elsewhere, but it is important that you put in an amount just to set their expectations so they know about how much they're going to expect to see deducted from their card. For us, I'm going to keep it nice and cheap, $500 flights and insurance, authorization deadline. Last thing you guys need to know, 30 days is the standard. And so I'll just type in 30 days, send that form off, and now we just wait. I'm going to slide back into our slides though, but that is a little bit about forms. There's so many different kinds of forms you can create in Travefy. Those electronic signatures are so important to keep on there. And again, if you're using or wanting to collect credit card information, making sure that you're using Travefy's PCI compliant form. But now what happens when it actually comes to receiving responses? What do we do with that information from here? And so let's talk about that really quick. Travefy's CRM, again, customer relationship management system, is going to do a lot of the organizing for you. And that is an important factor when you're trying to consider what CRM should you be using, what platform should you be using for your business. Make sure that the platform is going to be working for you, that you aren't going to have to do a lot of these things manually. And so to tell you a little bit about Travefy, Travefy is going to automatically track any itineraries and proposals you send a traveler. This is a quick snapshot of what that contact profile actually looks like. We can also see those forms that you've sent, and we can also view the viewing statuses. So if you are ever thinking, man, I sent that intake form to that traveler a week ago, what is happening? I have not heard anything back. You can see whether they viewed it, whether they opened it. Of course, you'll be able to view responses in there, but these are just tools that can help give you a bit more leverage in situations like that. We also, of course, are securely storing those important documents like those passports, any document that they are uploading. Ooh, this was a quick slide. I only had one slide here to show you, but let's go right back into Travefy if you guys don't mind. And I'm going to show you what a response does look like, but just know whenever you receive a response to any of your forms, you are going to get an email notification and it's going to take you back into the form that they responded to. Then just go over to your responses tab right there. And you can see all the responses you have ever received from anyone. You can see that I actually have a response, believe it or not, 3 hours ago. And so if I click this drop-down arrow, I can see a little bit of that information. And I'm sure that you guys can't really see any of that information with how tiny my screen is. But just know we get a preview of the information. So if you happen to recognize this individual, you can assign the response to that contact. We'll just select assign to contact, and you can say, assign this to an existing contact. I can tell that this is so-and-so. If we don't recognize this information, maybe this was that booking form that happens to be on my website. This is where I'm getting new leads funneled in. I can assign this to a brand new contact profile really easily. We'll select assign to new contact. It's going to say, is Kathy Smith the right name? Yes, it is. I'm going to confirm that by selecting create and assign. Now, as you can see, that was less than a second, but we now have a Kathy Smith in here, and I'm going to click right into their name. Now, as you can probably see on my screen a little bit better, we have a whole contact profile that has been created directly from that response. And the reason why we are able to do that at Travefy is because of those smart fields, if you remember a few slides back when we talked about it. And so we have a couple of things that I'll just point out for you that I think are important. One are your custom fields. Just think to yourself, is there any information I really like to ask about a traveler that may not be your standard first name, last name, email address, etc.? That is where you can create your own custom fields. A lot of travelers I know will have allergies, as I do have in here. Another one that I heard of the other day was a global entry ID number. That is a great custom field that you can have in here, and it always shows up at the top. But if you scroll down, you can see the basic contact information I had asked in my form. And if you continue scrolling down, you can see additional contact fields. I highly recommend, if you have the time, if you're starting to get into Travefy for the first time, just taking a look at some of these different fields right within here. You can put birthdays, anniversaries, loyalty programs. If you want to take it a step further for these important dates, add in some automations, add in a task reminder to reach out or give them a phone call. But that's such a great way that you can show that you care about these travelers. But we'll take the hard work from you in terms of putting their information down in a profile. Now, if I go into some of these different tabs right here, this is where I was talking about task and automations. You can easily select add, and you can see the 3 things you can add in here. I won't take a lot of time right now to dig in too deep to this, but if you are someone who has been thinking to yourself, man, I do not have enough time in my day, I am working so late, I feel like I am drowning. If you are thinking that to yourself and you have not gotten comfortable with automations, this can be the key to helping shave a little bit more time. And so automations, to explain that really quickly, this is where you would have Travefy send something out on your behalf. So maybe those emails that you want to have sent out, but maybe you have that full-time job. I'll give you another story here. You're probably sick of them, but I know so many advisors who are teachers. Maybe we have someone on their lunch break right now who's a teacher tuning in. But I know so many teachers who are also advisors, but during the day, they are dedicated to their classroom. They are not sending anything out work related to being a travel advisor. However, if you set up an automation, you can have items sent out in those business hours, so your travelers are actually opening them. And then you, of course, are still being able to focus on your other job, or maybe this is just you being able to focus on your other travelers that need more attention. The automations can really help save you time. But you can see a few of the different ones that we have in here for Travefy. I could do an email message, I could put in a subject line, little quick message right here. Maybe that is this birthday email automation I was talking about. But you schedule your date, you put in your time, we'll say 4 p.m. here, and then you're pretty much good to go. I would recommend, of course, putting in an actual email subject and email message, but once you click done, it'll go ahead and send that off for you. Task reminders, if you might be wondering what that is, this is where it's just really exactly that. It's reminding you about a task that you need to get done. And then for my friends who feel pretty comfortable about both of these items, the task list, that would be my next challenge to you. A task list is a combination of both automations and tasks. Think of it as a workflow where if you don't want to set up the same automations, the same task whenever you get a booked client, look at setting up a task list. We have some great workflows in our marketplace, as I mentioned beforehand. But all right, if anyone has questions, I know we're gonna have more than enough time to go over those, but I'm gonna keep on moving because as you can tell, I can keep on talking. But we have a notes area, really great for your call notes, trips and forms. Again, these are areas that we will automatically track. So whenever you send out a trip, whenever you send out a form, we will record that history for you. You can also see documents. I uploaded a passport into that other form. It's securely stored right from within here. And then the last thing, oh, and of course it's going to make sure that I log in, email integration. This was released in the summertime with our big CRM push at Travefy. Highly, highly recommend turning this on. This is going to make sure that your email inbox is connected to your Travefy account. So if I had any emails previously with this client's email address, all of our history would come in. This is a really great tool for that reason, because now I'm not going to have marketing emails flood in here. I am just seeing the communication between me and that client's email that's recorded. Another great thing is I'm going to go to my account settings. Don't feel like you have to memorize these steps, but I am going to go into, this is where I go to linked accounts. There we go. Linked accounts, your email tab is up at the top, and this is where you can set it up. This email integration is at no additional cost. This is one that you might just want to write down for later for the end when we ask questions, but I'll repeat that once more. The email integration is at no additional cost. And when you do set up your email integration, you can also make sure that you set it as the default. This will have it where Travefy, when we send anything out for you or when you email anything out from Travefy, it's always coming from your email address, and that helps with branding, and that helps significantly with deliverability. And so this is my challenge to you. I know I've done a few challenges to you guys, but this is such an impactful one that takes maybe less than a minute. So again, all included within your subscription right here. But that's a bit about contacts. We saw how we could set up those forms really easily, how we get those responses in, how we can assign it to a contact profile, how all the information is organized. Let's talk a little bit now about how, well, I guess I already talked about this. I got so ahead of myself. Here's your email integration slide. I won't spend too much time talking about this since we just did, but let's talk about money management. This is everyone's favorite topic, right? I can just hear the laughs right now behind the camera. But when it comes to money management, this is where we really want to spend time talking about invoices and your commissions. This is how you're getting paid. This is how you are tracking and making sure your clients are paying and authorizing what they need to get things booked completely. And so Travefy released invoices as of this past summer. You can auto-populate invoices from your travel itineraries and proposals, which can help save you that much more time. And we're going to see that, of course. But in my opinion, the biggest benefit is actually for your travelers. Because if you're working with multiple suppliers, you know how difficult it can be to try and tell someone, okay, we have the tour booked through this guy, we have your cruise booked through this supplier, your payment for the cruise is going to be due this time, your payment for this tour operator is going to be due at this time. It's just a lot of back and forth, and there has to be an easier way, and that's what we kept asking. And finally, we're able to release invoices. And so we're going to talk about that soon enough, but here's a little sneak peek about what an invoice page can look like for your travelers and making sure the whole process that they have with you is so seamless. Also, commissions. How are you getting paid? This is always so important, and it's crazy, but we've talked to so many different host agencies, and I tell you, every host agency told us there is millions and millions of dollars of unclaimed commission from their advisors, and you guys deserve to get paid for your work. And so we created a tool that's going to help you just have a bit better financial visibility. We've talked to a lot of advisors, and maybe this is you as well, but we've talked to some advisors who just do it manually within a spreadsheet, within a Google Sheet, which is fine and dandy, except when you start to feel like you're barely floating above water. And so making sure that we had a feature that was integrated in our system that can communicate with those other features that we were talking about, super, super important. But all right, let's go ahead. Let's take a look at that. Let's tackle this head on. We were in our library, we were in our contacts. I'm going to take you over to our trips page. I'm going to click into this Tulip Serenade and expand this open. Again, if this is your first time seeing Travefy, you might already be thinking, Bonnie, what the heck are we doing? This has been so much. I'm telling you, don't feel like you need to memorize every single step here. But I hope at the very least that you are understanding that there is a better way for you to save time. Now, when it comes to your trip, this is what it's going to look like. You can add as many itineraries, proposals in here, any resources for the specific trip, you can do that within here. We always use the analogy that think of this as your suitcase. Anything that is going with this trip goes into your trip right here. But I'm going to select add new at the blue in the bottom. And from here, I'm going to get a list, and I'm going to zoom in for my friends who can't see this very well. Hopefully you can see that better now. We have a list of those different resources that we can add into this trip. Do I want to add in another proposal? Do I want to add in more itineraries, maybe more forms? For us, let's talk about that invoice that has sparkles right next to it. Makes you want to click into it, right? That was our thinking. But as you can see on this right-hand side, we have an invoice page that we can begin to customize. Now, for a lot of advisors that I talk to, you guys like to include prices within your proposals, every little bit here or there. And so if you are doing that, this is going to make your life really, really easy. We can select our itinerary or proposal that we want to create an invoice from. For instance, I might want to create an invoice for the Smith family. I'll select Smith family. And when I select auto populate, any event or any information item that has a price attached to it will come over and total itself up automatically. So that way you don't have to have one tab open trying to look through and add up all of the prices. It's all right within here because you've already done that. We don't want to make it feel like you have to do double the work just to put together an invoice. And so another thing that you might want to write down, we can auto populate invoices. So let's talk a bit more about this and we'll wrap this up quick enough. But if you, and I'm going to zoom in, hopefully you can see that okay. Joni will yell at me if you can't, but you can only display total if you want to. If you don't want to have to talk about every line item, I know advisors who have talked to me about that. They're like, I don't want to have a conversation about each and every item on their invoice. Just click that button. That'll make sure that they only see their total. Another thing is if you want to introduce a payment schedule. This is where, again, it's really nice if you happen to be working with multiple suppliers, which I know most of you are going to be doing for your trips. This is where you can introduce custom payment schedules. So you're taking the work off from your travelers. Hopefully this will help cut down on the amount of times they follow up with you saying, hey, when was that payment due? It's all just going to be right in here for them. So what I like to do is I like to show a deposit. You can put in a specific due date if you want. Let's say that there's a deposit due tomorrow. We can add another installment in, maybe full remaining payment. This is where you can also, again, put in your deadline. We'll say January 30th, and you can customize the amount. So if you want that deposit to be maybe 500, great. It'll yell at you and make sure that you know that this is not equal to the total up there. And so for me, let's see if we got the numbers right. Yay, we do. This is what we're seeing, totaling everything out. We don't have any errors, so we know that every dollar is accounted for. If you want to add in your terms and conditions, which again, if you have your terms and conditions, I recommend putting them in, attaching any necessary documents. Once you're ready, you can go ahead, send that on off to your traveler. We're going to send it to a Cynthia Smith once more. Save messages if you would like, send the email off. If you want to see what this actually is looking like when I click preview, here is what your invoice page will look like. Few things that I'm going to point out is that they can see the total paid that they have done so far. So if they've done only their deposit, they'll be able to see these numbers calculate live. They'll also be able to see that payment schedule. So if you have travelers that have a lot of questions, keep directing them to their invoice page. I know that most of the times you guys already answer all of their questions. You put it into the proposals, those itineraries. Just keep pushing. I know they will get the hang of it. Now, one thing for your travelers, which I think is also really nice, is custom amounts. We do have those payment schedules, but if they want to put maybe $1,000 towards this full remaining payment after they paid their deposit, of course, before January 30th, they can put in custom amounts whenever they want. So if they want to do the custom amount of $1,000, upload that payment detail information and authorize it to you, that will go ahead and allow it to be flexible enough for them, but still keeping them on track for you. So again, I think if you were to ask me, the biggest benefit of invoices is for your travelers. It's so easy to understand. And of course, it's simple and professional for your work. I'm going to exit out of here. And you might have noticed there's some dollar signs next to these invoice lines. If you click into it, this is actually your commission button. So if you're putting together your invoice and you know your commission details, throw them on in as you're creating them, or you can always come back to the specific invoice and put this in later. But the reason why I like to do it through an invoice page is because, again, everything's connected. This invoice or this commission is going to be tied to this trip. You'll be able to see to which traveler it's attached to, so you have full visibility over everything. So let's go ahead. I'm just going to type in some quick details. We'll say that this is tied to Cynthia Smith, which I believe it is. Expected commission date. This is the one that I see most advisors put in for themselves. Will go all the way to the end of April or middle of April, excuse me. And last thing is that actual commission total. Maybe we are making $450 off of this river cruise booking, but I'm working with a 75% commission split. It's automatically totaling and splitting those items up. And all you have to do after you enter that information in is just save and close. I know that's not the most fun topic to talk about, invoices, money, commission, but last thing that I will just mention before we get back into our slides is, where does all of the commission information go to? Click your name up at the top right, select bookings for me. And this is where you'll see all of the entries you have. You can see that I have a lot of them tied to Cynthia. She's my star client, but you can also see what your supplier is tied to, if it's tied to a booking, or if you're expecting it at that point. When you do receive your commission, click the three dots next to that commission entry, and you can select receive payment, put in the exact amount as well as that payment date, save it and close it, and it updates those fields up at the top. It'll also alert you if that commission total is not quite matching what you received. Always super important to make sure that you are fully getting paid what you worked. But if anyone has questions on that, again, feel free, put those in the questions area, but we have so many great training resources as well. I think in order for me to get my head wrapped around this, if I were you, I would look at scheduling a one-on-one training with us. This is where you could share your screen, we could share our screen, and we can chat one-on-one about all of these different features. But I'm going to end really just with this last one that we actually began with. Travefy has so many features. I know we talked mostly about how do we stay organized with client information, CRM, admin work. So to all of you who joined, thank you. I know this is not a topic that is the most exciting, but it is so, so necessary, especially as we're starting to get ready for wave season, get ready for 2026. But itineraries and proposals, all of these CRM features, the marketing features we didn't talk about, they're all working together so that you can grow quickly. So how do you get started if you are not using Travefy quite yet? What even does pricing look like? We are a subscription service, so we offer an annual subscription as well as a monthly. I was talking to my partnerships gal yesterday. We originally did not have a discount for you, but cheers to our marketing team, our partnerships team. They decided to give you 20% off. This is good for the month. So it doesn't end in October. I know it says October, but this is good for a month, 30 days from now, if you want 20% off of your annual subscription. This is going to equate about $32 a month billed annually. Usually it's $49 a month or $39. There's a lot of math going on, but just safe to say you are going to be saving money if you remember to use this discount code. Otherwise, you're welcome to email us. Don't feel like you have to write down this code, but you can email us and say, hey, I was part of the awesome webinar that Joni put on. Please give me the discount code. We are willing to work with you on that. But that gets you all of your features. If you need a quick way to get to our site, I'm going to leave this QR code up. But thank you so much again for sticking with me on all of this. And if there are any questions, I'd love to make sure we get those answered. But Joni, how are we all doing back there?
Oh, this was great. I got to tell you, I'm not a travel agent anymore. I was many, many moons ago. But I tell you, if I were, I would have so much fun with this. This is such a cool
Yeah.
program. I love it. I'm serious. I see some of the things that it can do, and it's amazing. I mean, it's like nothing you guys haven't thought of when I see that host agency split in there and everything. I mean, you're just making it very in my personal opinion, very easy for travel agents to utilize
Oh,
this program and be able to really benefit from it. And I think it's just fun. I think it looks like fun to use. I kind of want to play with it. Okay,
nice.
so I got to have
Hey,
some
Jody,
questions.
say that.
Back to business. Okay. I do have some questions for you, Bonnie. Thank you. And here we go. Let me get to this first one. I'm going to try to open it so I can see it a little better. Okay, this is from Normar. She says, how many tour companies, cruise lines, etc., are integrated with Travefy?
That is such a great question. This is one of my favorite things to talk about. So, off the top of my head, I can tell you we have over 200 plus tour operator suppliers, over 80 cruise lines. But if you are someone who wants to just actually see our entire list, I hope everyone's done scanning that QR code. I'll go back if someone wants to yell at me. But what I would recommend doing is I like to go to our learning center and go into our FAQs. This is an easy way where if you have the name of your supplier, you can type it in. Otherwise, this is a list that you can keep handy for yourself. I like going after this one. You can go into each and every list and every kind of supplier that we have. Some of them are really special, like our booking operation ones, push method, so many good ones. We also have some different CRM back office integrations because I know sometimes it's just easier to do that. So feel free, reach out, let us know if there's some suppliers and you want to know how they're integrated in Travefy.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Okay. And do you create customer database with Travefy? Do they create a customer database within Travefy?
Yeah, great question. So I'm going to go back. Let's go back to Travefy really quick. And that really is your contacts area when it comes to your customer database. Now, you might already have your clients stored elsewhere. So if that is the case, I would recommend looking at importing your contacts into your system. This is where you can just click that import contacts button on the left-hand side, download your template file. As long as your travelers are organized in this type of way where it's last name, first name, email, etc., that's a great and easy way where you can have all of your contacts come over and you don't have to feel like it's going to be a lot of legwork. But to answer your original question, this really is your customer database where it's connected to every facet of Travefy.
Okay, perfect. Is there a way to set automated emails for those that choose to do an installment payment to send emails like, say, 15 days or so ahead of the payment due date?
Oh my gosh, I love that question. Yes. So for right now, I'm going to go into trips, going back into this guy right here, and I'm going to just take a quick look at our invoice. So we have one for maybe January 30th. Maybe I want to give them a heads up a week ahead of time to remind them, hey, any remaining payment you have, you need to make that done. What you can do is go into your task and automations, select add, select your automation button. I know we only showed how you can set this up within a contact. You can also do it within your trip space where I am right now. And from here, absolutely, you can do that email message. You can choose to email everyone who happens to be on that trip, which honestly probably isn't a bad idea if they all are having their own invoices they need to pay. Only specific people. Let's pick on Cynthia once more. Cynthia, I'm going to remind her about payment due. Test. We'll pretend that's a really lovely written email message, right? And from here, I can choose some different dates. So if I have a specific date in mind, which is maybe that week before January 30th, I could do that. I could also do automatic dates, which you might have seen. And I'll zoom in because you may not have been able to see that now that I think about it. You could do automatic. You could do 15 days before the start date. These are related to the actual itinerary dates. But to simplify what I just went through, yes, absolutely. Set up your automation emails to send out X amount of days before you need them to. But
That's
great
perfect.
question.
Okay, so another question is if they've already got a website that seems to be one of the components of the subscription, I think you maybe if you can clarify that a little bit, because the CRM really isn't the same as your travel industry website. This is how you're going to manage your clients' information, correct?
Correct. So your CRM, again, The easiest way to think about it, in my opinion, is thinking of that as your customer database, like that one advisor mentioned, or think of it as a really fancy online address book where you're managing all of your clients. Your pages or your
Exactly.
website, that is all about marketing. That is how you are getting new traveler information who are interested in your services through the door. So marketing is really the first step in getting those leads. And if you're interested, I love talking about pages personally. I think this is a really fun place where you can be creative and really show off who you are as an advisor. But a pages tool, this is where you can create a website for yourself. So it could be something like this. You can also create what we call travel landing pages. So if you might already have a website and you are happy with it, that is amazing. You can still use this tool to create those online travel landing pages. So here's one I always like to show. I don't know if anyone is doing destination weddings in this group. I am seeing fewer and fewer advisors focusing in on that these days, but this is an example of something you could put together where it's just for the friends and family of your couple. You can put in any forms that they need to fill out, their pictures, you can customize it however you need to, but such a great tool to really level up your service. But again, marketing, this is the first step in getting interested leads into the door and really just showing a bit about who you are and what services you offer.
Perfect. Okay. Somebody else wanted to share with you that they love it so far. They love Travefy. So that's
Yay!
always a good thing to hear. Yes. And how about with if someone is working with a tour operator and they don't see it on the list, I'm assuming, they can reach out to you, find out if you guys have talked to
Yeah.
them or if that's, a possibility in the future or something like that.
Absolutely. We are having multiple conversations with different suppliers all the time. And so you're always welcome to reach out to us. We will be happy to share what we can at that time or even start the conversation. What we have found to be the most impactful is if it's a tour operator and we don't have a conversation going on with them currently, is having you CC us in an email where you're introducing us. A tour operator or really any supplier is a lot more likely to want to continue that conversation if they're hearing from you guys. A lot of times if they see something from us, it's like, oh, trash it, it's marketing. So we have some different ways that we'd love to continue those conversations, but I want to talk to you as well about what you can also try out. I'm going to add in another proposal into this trip right here. And I'm just going to click edit. We haven't hung out in the trip builder at all today, but what I would recommend going ahead and giving a shot is the smart import tool. Some of you might be familiar with this if you have been using Travefy, but Smart Import, this is Travefy's AI tool where if you copy and paste information in, or what a lot of people do is they'll upload PDF documents given to them by these suppliers. This is where Travefy's AI reads through the information and builds it out for you in the system. And so because I actually have quite enough, I think we have some good time here. I'm going to pull in a Delta Vacations quote. This is going to be dated back in April, but let's just all together pretend that this is dated for April 2026. But you upload it in here. You can see Travefy is doing its magic. It's working through all of it. Just a little tip is try and make sure that whatever document that you're using has some dates and times listed. Otherwise, Travefy is going to try and take a shot in the dark and guessing when the date actually is. But this has helped save so many people so much time. Instead of having to put all of this together yourself, it handles flights, it handles pretty much everything you could think of that is in that document. So you can see that's yelling at me that this is dated in the past. But also, something that I like to shout out is we also can use the images within those documents that you're using. So I know so many great tour operators, or if you're working with DMCs, they can include some amazing media. And so if you don't want to try and copy and paste anything, they already included that media onto the PDF they gave you. You can just automatically assign those images. We can handle that. But if you're to ask me, why would you do this in the first place? Why can't I just send my traveler the supplier documents? Like I like the look of it. The thing that I always tell people is it might look amazing. They probably do look really good. However, your traveler is going to see that supplier name everywhere. Suppliers love to put their name everywhere they can. At Travefy, if we are doing our job right, they won't know who the heck we are. They will just see your information and branding. I always like to bring that up just in case, we've all been there. We've always asked that, but save yourself some time. And of course, it's going to be branded to you. I went on
Awesome.
a little bit of
Okay.
a long speech with that one,
No,
but
no,
great
that's
question.
cool. No, it's all good stuff. All good stuff. I love it. So I wanted to, first of all, I want to say thank you for that discount code. That's awesome. We appreciate that. I will share that with Andy. He'll be happy about that. Somebody just wrote, Abby is going to be getting Travefy. She says she's fairly new and needs to build clientele, but it's a game changer, she thinks. So that's
Oh
very
my
cool. So you
gosh, that
got
is
yourself a new
awesome.
customer with Abby today. Thank you, Abby.
Yes, Abby. And for any, see, I can just keep talking. I'm going to make sure that I share this out with Joni. Otherwise, it's just travefy.com/plans/NTAP. I know it's a little bit of a longer one. If we have any advisors who are new to this industry, who are under a year within travel advising, we have a great program for you that is a bit more discounted, but also includes things like a custom domain, email, some different resources that I think are really going to help you get started. So if Abby, if this applies to you, I would actually recommend taking a look at this. But yeah, we have a lot of
Cool.
things that we want to help you out with.
I don't think you guys have forgotten anything. You think of everything. You always seem to got,
Woo!
you've got it all in there, I'll tell you. Well, I think we're ready for our prizes if everybody's game for that. We do have a couple
Yay!
questions that Bonnie has provided for me, and I'm going to randomly pick the correct answer for the first and the second. The first is going to be for $100 Amazon gift card, courtesy of Bonnie and her crew at Travefy. And the question is a simple answer, which is a yes or no. Okay, so that makes it simple. Is the email integration, wait, before I do this, remember everybody, you're going to put the answer in the questions area, not the chat area. Okay, so in the questions area. All right, ready, set. Is the email integration in Travefy at any additional cost? Yes or no?
Ooh, I feel like we
Well,
need
you
to have
certainly did.
background
No, you
music.
really did a good job with this, Bonnie, because everybody's got the right answer. So now I got to close
Yes.
my eyes and reach out on my giant screen or my monitor and put my finger somewhere. Okay, and my finger ended on Laura Yoder. And what is it? Answer yes or no,
The answer is
Bonnie?
no, it's not at any additional cost. It's all included. Woo! Love
Exactly. All right,
that.
Laura, congratulations. Happy shopping, girl. That should be some fun. Okay. Now we have another question for a $50 Amazon gift card. So let me get rid of all these. Wow, you guys all got it right.
Guys.
Not a single wrong answer in this group. Oh, we're so smart around here. This is awesome. Okay, next question. Can you, it's a yes or no, by the way, folks. Can you auto-populate invoices from Travefy? Gosh, it's much of smarty pants, I'll tell you.
Oh
Okay,
boy.
Lordy B. All the correct answers. Oh, I liked it. One of these was pretty funny. I kind of want to pick it but I have to be random, so I can't. But I'll tell you what it was afterwards. Okay. I'm going to maybe my finger will randomly pick it. Oh my God, that is bizarre. I'm dead serious that I randomly hit the person and they answered the question twice. So actually, they really get this. Okay,
They
this is
really
pretty funny. Their answer was, of course, which I absolutely loved. Okay. It was not like a yes or no, it was of course. But they
Duh.
also answered yes. So, and my finger went between right there. So, anyway, Gabe Ruley, congratulations. That was well done. Very good. Very good. Of course, is a great way to answer a yes question. Love it. All right. Well, that was super, super fun, everybody. I'm really excited that everybody got these all correct and everybody was so attentive. It was really a fun webinar. Your energy level just rocks this world. Bonnie, you're amazing. So
Oh.
thank you for sharing with us today and for the discount code and all that you do for travel agents. You guys are an amazing company.
Absolutely. Let
All
me put
right.
it
So
won't end on
folks,
the
oh,
screen, but
go
yes.
ahead. You want to put that up there? Okay, perfect. All right, folks, we are good. Sign on up and enjoy Travefy if you're not already using it. And if you are using it, keep it up. All right, everybody, have a great rest of your day. Bonnie, thank you so much for being
Yes.
here today.
Thanks everyone for being here. Have a great rest of your week. Stay warm and we'll see you on the next one.
Sounds good. All right, bye. Bye, everybody.
Bye.